Hey, I'm just out here sanding a deck at the moment, and people spend quite a lot of money by getting decks and entertainment areas put on. I thought I'd just put together this video to show you what's involved in maintaining your deck and looking after it so it lasts for a very long time and you don't have to have repairs or maintenance done later on, or sometime soon down the future. So it is quite easy, it is quite simple, it doesn't take a great deal of effort, and anyone can do it. So I'll just show you some steps that we go through now. So first of all, we just grab the sander with the 80 grit sandpaper. We just run over the top of the decking boards quite light, doesn't have to be really heavy. It's just mainly to get any crap and rubbish that's sitting on top of the existing stain, and just to roughen it up a little bit so the next stain that's going on top will work quite well and stick to it. So this one here hasn't got a stain at all at the moment, so I've rubbed this one back now and we'll go through and sand this one back. I've had a few people ask why we use orbital sanders too. And why don't we just get a big sander in on top? Generally, we found the orbital to be the best, because what tends to happen if you use a big sander or a belt sander or something that's not quite the width of the boards or is actually bigger, we found you get a lot of indiscrepancies when you're sanding, and it doesn't quite come up as good as you'd like it. It gets way too patchy, and then you'll find you get to a point where you really have to sand down the deck quite far. So you really have to get a very flat surfaces, because like any timber, everything's not the exact same size. There is slight, some are seasoned or some are dried out, or some dry out quicker than others, or where bits are in the sun. Sizes can vary a tiny bit with thickness, so you may find that there may be a little bit of different sizing in your timber, which is quite common. So it's just, orbital sanders found to be one of the quickest and easiest, and most, even just a palm sander with some 80 grit works quite well also. Now, once we've done that, we basically run through, the deck's been fully sanded, make sure it's all blown off, it's all clean, it's nice and dry, there's no wet areas, there's no dust sitting on top still. So once that's been done, it's just a matter of cutting in around the edges. So I'll show you basically what we do and how we do it. So we start with the brush in the corner and just basically go around and cut all our edges in first. Now once all these edges are cut in, we have another person. Generally there's two of us are doing it, so if there's two people, it is quite easy. If two of you are doing it, it does make it a lot easier. So one person can start running around the edge, and the next person can start basically grabbing the brush and basically putting that next coat on. So as you can see, we use these brushes. I'll just show you what this brush is actually like, so you can see basically it's just like pretty much a massive paintbrush that just screws onto the end of a pole. It's 175mm wide. This one's pretty good size. I think this is one of the common ones that Bunnings sell, so we just use that. So yeah, don't be afraid to load this brush up either. So basically we just fill up a paint tray, and then put the paint tray there, and then see how he's, just as he's fanning out there, it's starting to get a bit thin, so that's when you need to dip the brush back in the tray and then basically go again. So we found it's easier to work this in sections also, so we work it in basically sort of 2 meter runs at a time, and then sort of go sideways across so that you're not getting caught out and the stain's not drying in one area. When it comes to staining, we use a product called Sickens, HLSE. So this is a primer coat, and I'll show you what the thing looks like. So Sickens HLSE is a product we use. This one here, if you see the code number down below, 077. So this is just a pine, this is just a natural stain. We found Mervoud decking to be quite dark as it is, so we don't want to add any extra colour or darkness to it. So yes, we use HLSE, so that's a primer coat. So it's the very first coat that goes on first and basically primes the timber for the next coat. So the next coat you put on will be different. It's just called Cetol deck, and you can get a Cetol deck non-slip resistant. So this one, the non-slip resistant, we found really good to be used in areas of like stairways, outside where there's no roofing cover over your deck, because when it gets wet it can get quite slippery. So for finish wise, I think the Cetol deck with the not the non-slip stuff is better for looks wise, aesthetics, because you don't have that gritty with the non-slip stuff. It does have a bit of gritty stuff in it, so it can what's the word? It can take a little bit of shine off, but it definitely is safer if you've got young kids, or it's constantly getting wet, or elderly walking up and down the stairs, or just you don't want anyone to slip over. So the non-slip stuff's really brilliant for that. This stuff is quite expensive, but it is definitely a really good product, so I really highly recommend using it. I don't use anything else. I have used a few different other products, and yeah, I found this one to be the best. It is an oil-based product too, so I think yeah, it's definitely outlasts the old water-based products. So